Good afternoon, guys. It may be tomorrow when you're watching this, and I apologize for the fact that it is so late. It's been a crazy couple of days, and I just now had time to update all of my information about citations into APA format. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I really hate it that this day fell on your at-home learning day because I wanted you here to help you do this because it can be tricky, especially the first time you do it, it comes off a little confusing. So I'm going to post this video along with these slides up on Google Classroom. Obviously, if you're watching this, you found it, hey. But I'm also going to post it up to YouTube so you can find it at a different time if you need to. So let's talk about citations. Most classes that you take will use APA citation. There are different formats. MLA is the English teacher one that we normally use, and that's what I've had to convert all of my information from. We decided to do APA because once you get away from your English class, you'll never use MLA again, but you will see APA. Some of you will run into a format called Chicago Turabian, depending on what school you go to, and that is a different format. But the professor will ask you to buy a book that explains all the different formats that are inside of whichever version he wants you to use or she wants you to use. This is what the APA manual looks like now. It's in the 7th edition. So you have to be really careful when you're using a citation generator, which is what I'm going to show you, that you're using APA 7. APA 7, not 6, but 7. So some of the sources that you can go to include the Purdue OWL, which I have linked here, which has an overview, and it has a list of all the formatting and style guidelines for the 7th edition. If I want to know how to do an in-text citation and I have the author's name, I can click here. If I want to know how to put a book in the reference list, I click here and it's going to give you that information. So the Purdue OWL is a great resource and I highly, highly, highly recommend that. The citation generator that I'm going to show you is Citation Machine. I use EasyBib and I can show you why one day in class if you're interested, but EasyBib you have to pay for to use APA. They only have MLA for free. And even using MLA for free, it's very annoying because you get videos that you have to watch between each citation that you create. So I think citationmachine.net will be a better resource for you. So let's talk about APA 7. When you have use APA 7 to format your paper, you need to have a reference list. And I'm going to click on, you may have also heard it called a bibliography. They actually mean two different things in APA. A reference list contains only the sources that you have cited in text in your assignment. Okay, let me say that again. It only contains the sources that you cited in your text. A bibliography is a list of all the sources that you used to maybe generate ideas about the topic, but you might not have cited text directly from a source. So sometimes you might look up something and to generate an idea, but you didn't necessarily cite any text that was on that particular source. For the purposes of this paper, you are doing a reference list. You're doing a reference list, not a bibliography. So everything in your reference list needs to link back to a citation, an internal citation in your paper. In other words, for every resource you have on your reference page, there needs to be a set of parentheses in the paper that goes with it. For every set of parentheses, there needs to be a reference that goes with it. The parentheses are called your in-text citations. Okay, so let's look at what your talk about what your reference page should look like. This came off of another school site, but I thought it was pretty concise, and so I'm going to use it. The purpose of the reference list is to allow your readers to find your sources. So if I need to be able to find them alphabetically in the back. So if I'm reading your paper and I get to a set of parentheses that say green, comma, 2019, I know that I need to go to your reference list and find the author whose last name is Green, and that reference list needs to be in ABC order so that I can find Green quickly. It includes, your reference list includes everything that you have cited. It gives locations of information, and it has to be in alphabetical order with a hanging indent, which I'm going to show you in just a second. It has to be double spaced, just like the rest of your paper. And I want you to connect the hyperlinks. So when you have a website source or a DOI, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, they need to be hooked up so that I can just click them and check them. All right, so let's look at a sample. This is a sample reference page from the example paper that I'm going to post on Google Classroom. Notice that it says references at the top because there's more than one. There's 4 at least that we can see here, and it actually has more. It should have a page number, but I've cut it off, I think, at the top when I took the picture. The page number should be up here. These are in alphabetical order: Christensen, Dillinger, Fildus, and then Syria death toll. This particular one doesn't have an author, so I had to start with the title of the web page. This is called a hanging indent. The first line is out here on the left, and all the rest of the lines under it are indented, and that's called a hanging indent. It's really easy to do in Google Docs, and I'm going to show you that as well. All right, so what information do I need to generate a reference list? I need the author's name, last and first. And if you have multiple authors, you need all of the authors in the order that they appear on whatever paper or book that you're looking at, not alphabetical. Let me say that one more time. You need a list. If you have more than one author, you need a list of the way they appear on the book or the journal article, because that's the order of importance. Do not alphabetize them. If you cannot find a last name for your source, it's probably a blog, and you need to check with me because blogs are not valid sources. The second thing I need is the date of publication. The third thing that I need is the title of the article or work. The fourth thing is the medium. Where was it published? A journal? What website, database, what database, etc. And then the last thing is the web address, or the DOI, which stands for Data Object Identifier. Now, if you look in the example I have down here, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 authors. Notice their name is not there. It's just an initial. That's pretty standard for APA format. The year that they were published, 1996. A Pedagogy of Multiliteracies, Designing Social Futures. And I've got to get my thing out of the way here, but I can't see it. Mess. Oh, there it went. And that is the title of the book or journal that it's actually in, or the article. It's actually an article, I'm sorry. Now, it was published in the Harvard Education Journal. I can't use my cursor to highlight it because slides keeps coming up with that thing to advance the slides, but it's the red part. That's the title of the journal. 66 is the number of the journal, and 1 is the sequence. Sometimes journals publish multiple times a year, up to 4. This one was published in spring, and it is on pages 60 through 92. And that's what all that information is. And all of that will be available on Galileo if you're using a journal. You can get all of that information there. Now, down at the bottom, you will see a DOI and a number and then a link. When you're using Galileo, Galileo is just a search engine. It's not a source. I'm going to say that again. Galileo is a search engine, just like Google. It is not a source. It takes you and it searches databases like EBSCO, and I was trying to remember some different ones that I've had to use. Academic Premier, Academic Search Complete. Those are databases, okay? So Different people have access to databases through different methodologies. We have access through Galileo, but if I go through Kennesaw State University, I have access through Kennesaw State University. So how do I get a link that goes to that particular document that's in the database because it's not on a website, it's not in a static location, it's not going to be in the same place if I'm coming at it from two different directions. The way I find it is I get a data object identifier number and reference, and that's what you're seeing here. So if you're using Galileo, your article should have a DOI. If it does not, or if you want me to check it, just keep up with where you found it so that you can get back to it again and come in and show it to me. All right, that's a lot of information. The last thing that I wanted to leave you with is this, and this is what tripped me up so much when I was in grad school, is about capitalization. Most titles, when you put the title into the citation generator, they're going to return the citation however you cut and paste it in there. And in APA format, capitalization is different. It only happens at the beginning of a title, proper nouns, and at the beginning of a subtitle or after a colon or a dash that's in a title. So, for example, if you look in the middle here, A Star is Born. And see, that just bothers me because I want to capitalize those because it's the title of a movie. But you don't do that. You don't capitalize those words if you were doing an APA citation. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You don't capitalize Spider-Verse, but you do capitalize the I and into because it is after the colon, so it's the subtitle. And you capitalize Spider-Man because it's the proper noun. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I capitalize Harry Potter because it's a proper noun, but not the Deathly Hallows because it's not a proper noun. So the only things that do get capital letters are periodicals, and periodicals are like newspapers, journals, things that are published on a periodic, schedule. So the New York Times, School Library Journal, Us Weekly, TV Guide, whatever magazines or newspapers that you use. This is a little confusing too, and it's something that I can remind you of later. Here's the last thing. So when do I need to have a citation? If you borrow words or ideas that you're going to put in your paper, if you use a direct quote that you're going to put in your paper, if you paraphrase something from it that you are going to put in a paper, if you use an idea that somebody in the journal or newspaper article has expressed that you're going to use in your paper, or if you reference it, if you just say, Dr. Smith said in the journal article, you've got to give me an internal citation and there has to be a corresponding entry in the reference page. So let's look at what this looks like in the example paper, and then I'm going to show you how to generate one in Citation Machine. So here is the example paper that I have created. Actually, it came from a student at Sonoraville. She's the only student I've ever given a perfect score on a research paper. So I did take out some of the maps and references that she had because I didn't want to scare you, because you don't have to have maps in yours, obviously. If you want to put some maps in, you can, but you don't have to. So starting with the beginning of the paper, I have the running head and the title page. And the paper starts on the top of page 2. Some of you were having trouble with this with your essays, but it starts on the page first on page 2. And I come across an internal citation, Dillinger 2019. What this tells me is that if I go to the reference page, which is at the end, all the way at the end, references, and I look for Dillinger, I should be able to find exactly where she got that particular information from. And here is the entry, Dillinger 2019, Countries by Global Terrorism Index Rating. Notice that nothing is capitalized but countries. That's the capitalization thing. All right, going back to the paper up here. Let's find the next set of parentheses. Syria profile timeline. So I'm going to go to the S's in the reference section. Syria profile timeline 2019, January 14, BBC News. And that's a typo, and that's my fault because I converted her paper to APA. That was not hers. But each set of parentheses in your paper needs to have a corresponding entry in the reference page. Fidelis. There should not be anything, there's one for Zand. There should not be anything in parentheses in your paper that is not also in your reference page. So that's pretty much the way it is. Now, her research paper was a little over 7 pages. This is back at Sonoraville when the research paper size used to be 5 to 7 pages. Yours is only 3 to 5. Don't panic, but I did not get rid of I didn't get rid of her text because I liked her text. Now, I have noticed something here in that I need to change in her paper, and this is in the conversion thing. She's got Syria profile timeline here, and it's in quotation marks, but in the reference page, it is now formatted in italics with no quotation marks. So in her paper, to make it match, and it should match the way you have it in your reference page, I need to find all of those, and I need to make them italics and get rid of the quotation marks because it needs to match exactly what's in my reference page, which is what the way it comes out when we use the citation generator. And you can do that by using Command F or Control F and doing a find and replace in your document. I can do looking for this in my document. Well, actually, I don't even have to do a replace because I'm going to do each one individually, so I can just look for it there. And it looks like that was the only one, and I've already taken care of it. So find and replace is a really great thing to use, guys. All right, so let's look at citation generator. I don't know if I have it still pulled up or not, but that's okay. I can pull it up here. Citation machine, citationmachine.net. And it's going to take just a second. I don't know why my computer is slow. I'm sorry about that. So when you come in, I would suggest that you create an account to sign in and create an account. And that way it'll keep track of all of your citations at one time. But what it's going to do is generate the list for you. So if I click Create Citations, and let's say, I don't know, let's say I'm going to cite this. I'm going to do a meta citation page about citation pages. That would be really strange. I put the website in, I click search, and then it's going to tell me the results that it finds. Now, if it's not a website, you're going to have to choose what medium it is. If it's a journal, you're going to have to choose journal. If it's a newspaper, you're going to have to choose newspaper. If it's a video, you're going to have to choose video. Whatever type of medium you have, you'll have to choose that first. But this was a website. So I'm like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. I click cite. It's going to ask me to review the information, and then it's going to bring it up. Now, I know based on my experience, I've got to change this to lowercase because it's APA style guides, ironically enough, say I can't do that. There is no author. Electronically published. I don't know when it was published, so I'm going to flip back over there and look at it and see if down at the bottom, and it says last updated today at 11:38 a.m. So I can go back here and I can say it was last updated in 2020. As a matter of fact, I can put all of this information in and complete citation. And it's wanting me to watch a video. Okay, I'm not going to sit here through the video. What I want to do is I'm just going to tell you that it's going to go ahead and generate a list, and it'll do it in probably in MLA originally, and you're going to have to change it to APA. So it pulls it up. Oh, it's got the other one that I did before. when I was trying this out, and it says bibliography, and it did come up in APA 7 because that's what I was using. Now, if yours comes up in MLA or APA 6, you can click Change Style and change it to APA 7 because that's what we need it to do. Now, how do I get it out of this? It's going to alphabetize it for me and keep track of my information, especially if I'm logged in. But if I want to get it out of this, I have to click Export. And then it's only giving me the option for Microsoft Word, but that's okay. And I can export it and it will pull it up. And even if it downloads a Microsoft Word, you can save that to your Chromebook and open it with Google Docs because it will work that way. I promise you. And when it comes up, it'll look like this, except it'll say bibliography at the top, and you'll have to change that to references manually. All right, that's a lot of information for one video. Try it, see what you can come up with. Your homework for tonight is to create an initial works cited page. If you will sign in to Citation Machine and create some type of account, it's free. It will save it for you so that you don't have to go back and regenerate all of your citations. But I just want you to try it out and see how it works and let me know. You were also supposed to today bring in 2 articles that support your claim. So you need to bring those into next class because we're going to be working on claims next class when we talk about logos, ethos, pathos, and outlines. So if you have any questions, let me know, and happy researching.